I'm Dr. Ashish, and I take forward the Technology, Innovation and IP initiative from the Confederation of Indian Industry. It is indeed a pleasure to have with us today Mr. Vipin Sondhi, who is chairman of the National Mission on Technology, Innovation and Research Leadership. Mr. Sondhi is also former managing director and CEO of Ashok, Leyland and JCB India. And it is indeed a pleasure, sir, to have you with us at this forum. And we look forward to have your insights and your expert comments and your advice to the stakeholders and the young researchers, innovators in Indian ecosystem. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of CII and on behalf of the audience. I welcome you to the forum, sir.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, sir. So 21st century is slated to be a century of knowledge, innovation, and intellectual leadership. India as a nation is consistently marching ahead on its journey towards sustainable development and towards achieving its aspiration to become a $5 trillion economy. India is also setting up its vision for India at 2047, which is a very meaningful document and which is a very meaningful work done by a lot of ministries. And indeed, there is a strong emphasis on strengthening the nation's ecosystem on technology, innovation, and research. So in this context, sir, to begin with, may I request your views on technology and how innovation and technology together can play an integral role in not just revival of global economies, but also spearheading economic and intellectual growth of the country. So,
well, good day to all the viewers. And again, thank you very much to CII and thank you very much, Doctor, for having me in this conversation. Doc, great question. The world that we live in has changed enormously in the last 10 years, 5 years, but even more so in the last 2 years. And as we make our way into the era which could well be called the post-pandemic, technology will be the key driver in shaping and sustaining sectors to ensure that we create jobs through economic growth, through the creation of wealth, and ensuring that we as a nation have a strategic edge over others. The future, as you've rightly said, will be dominated by those who have greater knowledge and greater intellectual intensity through the creation of intellectual property. And countries will compete based on this proprietary knowledge and technology, and they already are, and we must be right up there. Both government and industry will therefore have to work together to ensure that as a nation and as an industry, we accelerate into the future. The key is the word accelerate. The years ahead will push the limits of the current technologies in addition to incubating new ones. And we are seeing that happen, Ashish, every day. You and I and all of us are seeing that. And these need to ensure that we prioritize them, even some of which are not even thought of. I think it's time for amalgamation. You use the word sustainability and you use the word technology to go to amalgam sustainability and technology, sustainability in everything that we do, technology in everything that we do to take us forward, which will be the key drivers for economic revival, economic growth, and the gateway to a prosperous, wealthy nation as in India, and a great future for us. Back to you, Ashish.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful insights, actually. Talking about sustainability and technology, sir, where do you see India progressing in terms of this synergy of technological growth and development? And what are, in your views, the existing strengths of Indian ecosystem in science and technology as a nation moving forward and aspiring to have technology leadership?
Again, a very good question. India, presents itself a very unique opportunity today. the demographics of our country, the size, geographical size of our country, our young population, our talent force, policies that are increasingly becoming transformational, and those that are supporting fast expanding tech ecosystem and creating a fast expanding tech ecosystem. Basically, every aspect of our society, of business, of practices in our nation is now presenting us with a wonderful future. And perhaps this is why we as a nation are now consistently doing better and better on innovation management. And in the past few years, I think all of us who are listening, and I'm sure, Doc, you are seeing that a great amount of change is taking place in whether it's in technology or in knowledge-driven economy more than any time than this decade. Now we, as you mentioned in your opener, that we aspire, as the Prime Minister has said, to be a $5 trillion economy and then 10 trillion after that. It's also put a target to be in the top 25 innovation nations globally within the next 3 years. And that's a great target to have. In the face of this massive pandemic, Ashish, and the threat of unparalleled economic collapse, in fact, for the first time, Ashish, at least in my career, we've seen that health has been the reason for an economic collapse. Countries around the world have embarked, as we've seen, on a variety of measures for revival. We've had our own. And amid such unexpected circumstances, our tech ecosystem, the Indian tech ecosystem, has stood firm and worked cohesively to address challenges collectively because there was a shared purpose as well. And we developed indigenous technologies and tools to battle the pandemic and the associated issues with the pandemic at a pace that we've never seen before. That means it can be done. World over, the contribution of our fast expanding technology, innovation, research, and general entrepreneurial leadership is highly recognized, which in itself is a testimony of our nation's building a technological leadership. Back to you.
Sure, sir. Indeed, very encouraging to hear that. Sir, you talked about indigenous technologies and strength of India's science and technology system. You also talked about India focusing on health issues as one of the fallouts of the current pandemic crisis. So, what are the areas, some specific key growth sectors that you would like to define for India, which are going to be instrumental in defining India's technology leadership? So what are these key growth sectors that you will like to see India focusing on in coming years?
There's so many opportunities ahead of us technologically to innovate, to research and grow. But if we need to pick a few, as you've asked, perhaps some technology areas which need immediate focus, in fact, are getting that immediate focus. They're actually work in progress. Connected mobility, for example. Green energy. Semiconductor design, which we've seen has played havoc as far as the automobile sector is concerned. Manufacturing of that. Hydrogen as a fuel, the National Hydrogen Mission. Advanced materials, which is very critical, something that doesn't get the focus. Graphene, nanomaterials can change the way we do business substantially. Genome sequencing. Outside planet Earth, the space and the ocean technologies. Furthermore, the technologies like 5G is being rolled out. Artificial intelligence, data security, digitization. What can be more important than vaccine research? All of these would usher in the real potential of India as a cornerstone for sustainable development. Back to you, Doc.
Really, sir, really. So very important areas that you have mentioned. And actually, now that we are getting into specifics, and all these areas like green energy, semiconductor design that you have mentioned, all the more critical areas, vaccine, hydrogen, definitely. So, sir, how important you think it is to leverage the existing pillars of the Indian science and technology ecosystem, the two pillars being industry and academia, How should India leverage the partnership of these two pillars, industry and academia, in advancing technology research in India? And in your opinion, sir, how can India improve this engagement to bring the best out of the complete ecosystem of industry and academia?
Doc, this is a very important question. We've seen countries around the world, especially industrialized countries, where the relationship between academia, research, industry, research, and the bridge between these two, which is students and faculty, has led to enormous innovation. And I think we haven't, as a country, done it adequately well. So you raise a very important point that the collaboration between industry and academia has to be the key to driving India's technological leadership. And this can really be the huge wealth generator that we need. India's GERD is 0.7% of GDP, significantly lower than the GDP spent by the top 10 economies, you know that. And in most large developed and emerging economies, the participation of business enterprises and academia in GERD is high, which increases the likelihood of sophisticated product innovation. Industry academia collaborations, they create an environment for next-gen startups to thrive, provide a platform for open collaboration, enable pragmatic innovation, serve business needs, and generate a workforce which is ready to join and take industry forward. In India, as I'd mentioned, there's still a lack of optimal cooperation due to the stakeholders, most of us working in silos. A lot more needs to be done. We must work towards increasing the reach to several institutes, great institutions, and industries of all sizes. We have to align academic research to industry requirements as much as possible. We need to build and contextualize models for industry academia linkages in India, based on empirical evidence from successful industry academia models nationally, but also internationally. And therefore, the synergy between industry and academia is not to be underestimated. We've got to get on with it as early as possible. Back to you, Doc.
Sure, sir, definitely. So you talked about the talent of today's youth, the young talent. You talked about expertise of Indian startups coming up. You talked about India ushering into an era of new and emerging technologies, which means it becomes inevitable for the young tech-savvy population to apply their learnings and their passionate intellectual towards helping India meet these critical challenges in technology leadership. What is your advice to this young generation? How can they contribute towards improving these collaborations and contribute in this exercise? Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you. I think young people and women, everybody, young people are curious by nature. They're the best placed to ask questions and drive change. Now, the rapid exponential spread of technology is touching us or transforming every aspect of our human life. And this change is, as we can see, is being driven a lot by the younger generation. The millennials, the Gen Zers, they display a mastery in using technology for daily as well as diverse purposes. And because of that, they also drive then innovation for newer technology. There have been multiple success stories within our own country. It's very gratifying to see young entrepreneurs identifying technologies, converting them into user-friendly products and services. Now, this is very important. Whatever we do must be easy to use in whatever form. While a plethora of challenges remain, young entrepreneurs are better equipped to use the information available to them productively. It's just Mother Nature. It comes naturally to them. And therefore, it's all the more important that the younger generation, both men and women, further harness their energies and deliver greater outcomes to build the wealth of India, to build brand India, to build creating in India, to become globally competitive. The young need to apply their learnings to build products and solutions that are commercially viable with the utmost focus on quality and reliability. That has not been one of our strengths. Quality and reliability is a given. And they must work towards raising the credibility of Indian innovation and lead India to the pathway of technological leadership. And all of us, government, industry, academia, need to provide this ecosystem and support system for the young generation to thrive, blossom, and innovate. Thank you. Back to you, Doc.
Thank you, sir. What an insightful address this has been, sir. We have got some views which have been really eye-opener in some context, and also gives a lot of direction. I'm sure audience will get a lot of insight on what key areas are important for India. I would say critical for India. You mentioned about semiconductors, 5G, digital. I think it's now important for India to focus on these areas. So thank you for your insights. You also motivated the young men and women, the talent of India. And you also said that it is the responsibility of these startups as well as the complete ecosystem to give them the right opportunity and make India actually lead in this technology and innovation journey. I'm sure, sir, under the leadership of this national mission on technology, innovation, and research, we would be able to transform India into a technology leader nation, and will keep on consistently rising on the Global Innovation Index, and would definitely get into the league of top 25 innovation nations, as you said in your opening remarks. Thank you for your absolutely wonderful insights. We look forward to have your insights and your views in coming days as well, and looking forward to have your support in making this mission a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you.